I am actually from France. Yes, I've improved my accent quite a lot here in Canada. And what happened is throughout my career, I've seen people, most of the time newcomers, struggling with, how they can actually perform here in Canada. They can improve their life, build their career. So we're going to review together how we can do this. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to take a look primarily, as you know, we're going to talk about skills. All right. Let's see if everybody can see my screen. Just going to do a few pop-ups here. Wonderful. Et voilà. Are we good? Everybody can see? All right. Excellent. Thank you. So today, fun topics. You'll see we're not going to talk too much about theory. We're going to talk about practical things. So first, what are skills? Yes, I know it seems basic, but we all need to make sure we are aligned on what we are learning today. We need to understand how we determine skills. What are your skills? How you can showcase them, and how also you can find them in the job description in order to match them, and how you can sell yourself in front of a recruiter, an employer. And finally, for the people that will survive until the end, will have tools. So I have lots and lots of goodies for you. You'll see a bunch, but still it's going to be very useful for you. And the best is all of those are free and you can use them throughout your career. And you'll see that it's something that will change your way of working, but also looking for jobs. I know, big expectations, but you'll see. So as a start here, what are skills? It's the sum total of knowledge, aptitudes, and attitudes that a person mobilized to accomplish a task. Okay, so far, no problem. Okay, we can accomplish a task, we solve a problem in any given context, preferably professional context. This can be acquired through experience, training, practice. All right, so for example, you're a baby, you don't have any skills. Suddenly you learn to walk. Congratulations, you unlocked your first skill in life. You learn music. You learn about math, about French, maybe. Congratulations, that's a tough one. Maybe, so throughout your life, you're gonna acquire skills in very different ways. Maybe it's gonna be through school or trial, error and fails. You're just gonna practice in order to get it. But skills are much more than this. There's different types of skills. We're going to focus here on the ones you're going to use at work, obviously. And as you may know already, we have two types of skills. We have the hard skills, which are basically specific, measurable skills, often linked to professional qualifications or training. For example, if you're a dentist, if you are a lawyer or a construction engineer, as a recruiter, I can give you a test that will scientifically and accurately tell me how much you know about this. Easy peasy. But the opposite is true too with the soft skills. The soft skills are the behavioral skills. That's everything that relates to the way a person interacts with others and manage their professional situation. So this is much harder for recruiters to understand. Are you proficient in, I don't know, team working, communication? Yes, you're going to tell me yes, probably. But how can I understand whether or not you're good at this? And this is going to be the bulk of the training today, to understand how you can really, really work on that and sell it to the recruiters. There's a last part here, as you might have noticed. This is very rare, but I want to highlight it because maybe we have a lucky few here in this workshop. We have also people that are extremely good at something, and we call that mad skills. If you are extremely gifted in, for example, fundamental mathematics, so you can actually understand what is an algorithm, congratulations, you have a mad skill. If you play piano like nobody else, exceptional mad skills. So this is not for for you, me, or normal people. This is for exceptional people. Maybe you are, congratulations, but we're going to focus the whole thing is going to be about soft skills and hard skills. Now that we know this, it's not done, we're going to look a little bit more into soft skills. What are they? You probably already know, okay, communication, time management, problem solving, teamwork, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so here, there's a bunch. Don't worry. In the toolkit, I will give you, there's many more examples that you will be able to identify afterwards and work with. So the interesting thing here is that in any jobs, you will have skills. There's going to be expectations that you master certain amount of soft skills. And in Canada, maybe you know already, maybe not, but for example, in France, in maybe India, if I recall well, we care a lot about diplomas. And you will see, and I will probably repeat it after, here in Canada, your diplomas are not necessarily interesting for the recruiters because they're not North American diplomas. So you're going to have to rely on your ability to sell your skills, especially your soft skills, because this is where you're going to have the cultural gap that will show the most. For example, in France, we care a lot about addressing superiors or people that seem more important and we address them in a very, very polite tone, even too much. In Canada, we like to keep things at the same level. This is communication. This is the ability of understanding how we should interact with each other in a different setting. So this is here this type of skills that you're going to have to adapt. And this is where we're going to talk about transferable skills. From the country where you were born and you started your professional life to Canada, you've used many different skills, and it's important to identify them to understand how you applied them and how you're going to be able to use them again. This seems very obvious, but the difficulty here is to do it in a way that the recruiter, the Canadian one, will understand you. And so to do that, and we'll see it after again, you're going to have to quantify. For example, you're not going to say, oh yeah, I'm very good at managing people. No, you're going to say, I've in my previous job, for the span of 12 months, I've managed 5 people on a project that was a $1 million project. Okay, that rings a bell. I understand your level of, on skill of that. And that's an excellent transition for me because we're going to go here to two other things. You'll see that most of the time you're going to use the basic name of the skills. So communication, time management, problem solving. But if you're looking for a management role, the vocabulary change a little bit. For example, we don't say problem solving. We say complex problem solving. We say critical thinking. We're going to say emotional intelligence, judgment and decision making, cognitive flexibility. So I know this seems a little bit trivial, but it's important too to understand that you're going to have different vocabulary when you talk to different people. Executives have a different way to say things. For example, we don't say, oh, we have too many people in the organization. We need to, let go people. No, 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 no. We say we adjust the numbers of talents in the organization to match the projections. And so this is also a skill that you need to acquire here. And we'll come back to that. Okay, so skills are not hard skills and soft skills. There's much more to it. There's dimensions, and you'll understand why. Don't worry, it's not complicated. First, there's the knowledge. You know about accounting. Great. You know the basics, additions, subtractions, all of that. Good. But do you actually have experience with it? Have you actually managed the accounts? Have you actually, worked through the books? Those are two very important dimensions of the skill. But the last one, and I already talked about it, and it's very, very important, is the behavior. Here in Canada, when you are working, the perception of who you are and how professional you are and the way you are is critical. You can be the best at your job. If you're not somebody that connect with the others, you will probably, you will never have a promotion. You will never have a raise. Nobody will want to work with you. You'll be ostracized, and your career is going to take a short, like it's going to be fairly short. But, and you'll see that in most organizations, the people that are the most performant, like the people that succeed the most, are not necessarily the ones that have the best performance. It's the ones that are able to interact and showcase themselves. And in a skill, that's critical. You don't just have to know your skill, you have to be able to express it. And one thing here that is important, a basic example, in Japan or in France, when you want to be professional, you have to be very serious. You never smile. You're just like, you have to look almost mean. And people are like, oh yeah, he's very professional. Yeah, no, definitely. Here in Canada, you have to smile. You have to interact with the other. Hi, Sophie. How are you? It was nice to see you, last week. Oh my God, how's the kids? Blah, blah, blah. By the way, about work, duck, 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 duck. And the other thing we'll see it after is the way you communicate is not just that, it's the form of the communication. It's not just about being positive. It's about being short, easy to connect. We'll get back to it. Okay, so now that I've told you all of that, you're going to tell me, okay, Thomas, that's nice, but how do I actually measure it? So you're gonna do the work through your LinkedIn profile, your resume. You're gonna be like, okay, what type of skills do I have, and what level of mastery do I have over that? I'll give you my. Uh, this is a tiny thing. You won't find it in books, but this is an easy way I find to measure how proficient you are in your different skills. And this I call it the BIP, and it's to auto-evaluate you on each of your skills. For example, do you find that in communication you're a beginner? You're able to handle simple tasks, but you still need guidance? Are you independent? I mean, you can handle the routine tasks, the basic tasks, and you can solve common problems. Or maybe you're proficient. You can manage all situations and you're able to continue to evolve. Or that's it, you're at the top of the food chain, you're an expert. And then you're like, everybody comes to you when it's about this subject. And you're able, of course, to train people and innovate. When you know that, it will give you an advantage over other people for two reasons. The first one is, and you'll probably see it or realize it, unlike other cultures, in Canada, we don't like negative things. I think the Indians and the Japanese have that in common too. They don't like the word no. It's all about yes, but it's kind of the same thing here. It's not like the French people or the Italians were like, no, 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 we're not always criticizing. No, here it's all about being constructive and being positive. So when mean recruiters ask you, okay, what are your strengths and your weaknesses? You're not going to give those. You're going to say, you're going to actually put yourself, you're going to change your mindset. You're not going to say, okay, I'm looking for a job. I'm asking for a job. No, you're not. You are a tiny company with services to provide to a bigger company. And as you know, somebody that sells a service to another company, there's nothing that cannot be done. There's just things we specialize in and things we can improve. So here for your skills, exactly the same thing. If you see a job description, you're probably going to do this. You're going to have this reflex being like, okay, what are the tasks? Yeah, this one I know, this one I know. This one I don't know. I think I've done it before. I'm not sure. I have to check. And then the qualification, you're going to do the same. Here, instead of doing that, just be like, okay, am I an expert, proficient, independent, or am I a beginner? This way, you'll be able to effectively understand how you're going to approach this job. Fun fact for you, the government of Canada has made multiple statistics about the percentage, the likeliness for different people to apply for a job. And the reason why I'm telling you that, because this is going to help you. A white male Canadian will apply when he's compatible. He has a 50% compatibility with a job description. A woman or a newcomer or anybody else, pretty much, they will apply when they have a 75 to 80% compatibility score, which means that, first of all, we're not assessing correctly our ability to apply, and we don't understand exactly what are the skills that we should use. So we should follow the example set where it's all about, and this is, I'm giving you here a recruiter secret. When we make a job description, this is not an accurate picture of the needs of the employer. This is a Christmas list. We want the unicorn. We want someone that can do everything. But the most important are the 3 first tasks and the 3 first qualifications. Everything else is either a repetition of what we asked before, or it's additional. It's nice, but not mandatory. So when you're going to assess your skills, focus on those things. It will make your life much, much easier. Okay, I'm taking a breather here. Do we have any questions? Are we good? Yeah, so far so good. Okay, excellent. So as you can understand, you need to identify your skills, you need to assess each skill, and then you need to leverage this assessment. And we're going to see how. Of course, no worries, everything is prepared here. So how do we transfer a skill? I was talking a little bit about that before, but first we need to analyze and understand how a skill can be applied from one position to another. This seems obvious, but when you're going to look at your experience and when you're going to look at the job description, sometimes you're going to scratch your head, and it's okay. If you want, at the end, we're going to have time. We're going to be able to work together to see how we can actually do this. And then, of course, you're going to have to explain how this skill will beneficiate your future potential employer. And this, we're going to do it using different ways. We're going to see that. All right. So how do we convince someone? How do we interest someone, especially a recruiter? There's many different ways. Though there's usually a pattern. You'll see the beauty of Canada is that once you understand the format, you can replicate the format almost indefinitely. As long as you follow it, you're okay, you're safe. You have maximum visibility. It doesn't guarantee a job, but at least you'll be in the top 10, 20 people. It's like this. I mean, for 15 years, I've seen different people coming and going. I've seen people just arriving in Canada and keeping the reflexes, the cultural reflexes they had back in their country, and it failed miserably, I have to say. And Canadians that knew how to do it, and it was music to my ear. It was very impressive. So first thing, like I said before, I know I'm repeating myself, but it's very important. Determine your skills. Understand the skills that are needed in the job. Compare those. Finding the matches. There's nothing more frustrating for a recruiter and for you by extension, for you to spend time talking about a skill that has nothing to do with the job. Little secret here, and it's going to be a hard truth. I'm just warning you. Recruiters, employers do not care about anybody. They don't care about you. They don't care about your story. They don't care about anything except their needs. They have a company to run. They have a position they need to fill. They need somebody with the necessary skills to do it so they can make more money. So if you talk about your life, if you know there's a few tricky questions, for example, talk a little bit about yourself, or can you tell me why I should hire you? Why you and not somebody else? Those are all, they're not the real question. The real question is, I, the employer, have a need. I have a job description here. Can you do it? What are the skills that you're going to use in order to fulfill my need? So this is what you need to connect here. When I have, no, so I stopped a long time asking, but when you have recruiters saying, talk a little bit about yourself. Don't say, well, I started when I was in high school and then I decided to go to this university, but it didn't work. So I went to do this. And after that, no, don't do that, please. Just focus on the job description. Always, if you have a doubt, look at the job description. And then you're going to say, well, as you could see on my resume, I have 10 years of experience in guest service, especially in luxurious hotels. And now I'm looking to apply that here at your company, as I see that you have, well, I like your values, I like your customer experience, and I would be part of it. Done. 30 seconds, very clear. We understand your objective. We can move on to the next question. So we need to identify here the examples also you're going to highlight to sell the relevant skills. And we're going to have to work on the format. Few things here. For example, in a resume, most people are just going to list the task they've done. Okay? It's okay, but there's a better way to do it. First of all, when you look at the job description, you have to understand how they highlight the skills that are required, the vocabulary, the keywords they're using. And you're going to have to adapt those on your resume. But not only this, and I talked about it at the beginning, you have to quantify your level of proficiency or your successes. If you work in sales, how much money did you do? Like, what are the objectives they gave you? Like, I've systematically, went over my objectives by 50% for the last 6 months. I've sold for $1 million of washing machine. If you are in customer service, I got a 99% satisfaction customer service every time, and it's above the required objective, etc., etc. You can almost apply it everywhere. You can save money for the company, save time. It's all about the number of people you've served. I mean, there's many different ways to do it, and it's always good when you're describing your experiences and your skills. Three or four lines about the tasks you've done, and one about how you quantify this success. Okay, that's resume. You can also do in the introduction. We can talk about it after. In the interview, you probably heard about the STAR method to answer to the recruiters. So this one applies to soft skills, not hard skills. Hard skills is, do you know Excel? Yes, I'm intermediate and I know how to do pivot tables. Congrats, that's it. But to the questions, for example, can you tell me a specific experience where you had to say no to your boss and how you convinced him? This is soft skills. So here, first of all, there's a trick. Do not speak in a generic way. Okay, don't say, well, if usually I would do this way and this way. No. You have to go back into your experience here and say, well, actually, when I was working for Coca-Cola, at that time, my boss asked me to change the strategy and to actually do this sell, but I realized that it didn't make sense for us to do that, and it would probably impact our objectives. So I decided to do the blah, 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 blah. And the STAR method, it's all about this. We're not going to review it too much in detail because it's not specifically about the skills, but don't worry, I put a tiny resume for it. You can learn it in 5 minutes. And after that, please practice it. It's a wonderful weapon for you in interviews. So you understand here, it's all about understanding how you're going to articulate this, and we can talk a little bit more after that. But something else that is very important, we'll get back to it, is keep it short, keep it sweet. Unlike India, Japan, France, Italy, Spain, in North America, we don't like to justify answers. We don't like to over contextualize the answers. Are you, for example, I'm going to take the Excel example again. Are you good at Excel? Yes, no, this is my level. This is what I do. Done. You don't have to say, oh yeah, Excel, I know. Yeah, no, it's great. I learned when I was actually at the college, and then I decided to specialize in it. And then I decided that maybe it would be good because, in my job. No, we don't do that. Simply because when you do this, you're making two mistakes. The first one is you're diluting the value of the information you're trying to give. In Canada, we're used to people making short sentences, so we just have the core of the message. That's it. We don't need everything around. You're gonna lose people if you talk too much. So the secret is when you answer, it has to be between 30 and 60 seconds. Top, max. The second thing is probably English is not your first language, like me, and it's quite tough when you have to speak in another language. And I don't know if you know about French, but French has it's pretty much a nightmare to speak. Even French people argue about how we're supposed to speak it. And then we want to apply the same structure in English. Trust me, nobody understands. So the reason what I want to tell you here is the simpler the structure of your sentence is in English, the easier it's going to be for you, the less mistakes you're going to make. It's as easy as this. It's better to speak very simply in a very short sentences, because like this, everybody will be able to understand you. You are bilingual in Canada if you're able to understand people and to make yourself understood. That's it. You don't need to use fancy vocabulary. You will acquire this over time. Trust me, because when I arrived here in Canada, I was speaking like this, okay? So it was very difficult to actually make myself understand, okay? So over time, I worked on my English, on my vocabulary, on my accent, and it's going to happen for you too if you struggle with that. Do not worry. Okay, we're continuing here unless we have questions. Oh yeah, we have questions. Wow, we have big questions. Okay, let's see. What is it? Hello, Thomas. Thanks for sharing your insights. Always a pleasure. I would love to get your thought on advice on below email I received. Oof, okay, maybe I'm going to take that right after because it's a little bit long. So Afilaka, please bear with us for a minute. I will do that as soon as I'm finished with this part of the presentation. Okay, cultural differences that can impact your success. I was talking a little bit about it just before, but diplomas are great, but experience and interpersonal skills are better. What matters now, if you're not applying for a regulated job, if you don't want to be doctor, lawyer, engineer, in that case, this matters a lot. As you understand, being constructive, having a nice communication, behaving professionally, but amicably, you know? Here it's the definition here of what is professional is a little bit different because we're not going to be like, yes, sir, nice to meet you, sir. It's a pleasure. No, it's going to be, hi, John, nice to meet you. How's everything? Good. Okay. It's a pleasure to be with you today. We have to emphasize the positiveness of it. Almost everything. I know this can seem sometimes a little bit strange or French people love to be very we criticize everything. So we usually say that North American are hypocrites, but don't worry, the North American says that French people are arrogant. So you know it's fair. But what you need to understand is there's a way to do things here. There's a logic here that we have to respect, we have to comply with in order to be efficient. So even if you think that's not the right way for you, culturally speaking, you're perfectly right. In your own culture, maybe it doesn't make sense. But here in Canada, that's the way to follow. What's going to happen after? I'm just telling you, you'll see it's going to help you. Understanding another culture will not erase your culture. Taking the time to be respectful and look at others will help you to be more actually efficient afterwards. For example, as a French person who loves to criticize everything, what I do here now, I do the Canadian way. I will listen to the person. I will say, oh, wow, that's very interesting. Yes, I agree. That's something we should think about. And then the French part of me will be like, oh, careful. This is not good. This is a weakness. This we need to improve. So I will say, thank you for your input. You know what? We should definitely go with it. However, I see a few weakness points that we should address just to be safe. And usually, then we can go along with it. So I avoid the drama, I avoid the confrontation, but I use the core values of my culture in order to be more proficient and add value to my proposition in a Canadian shape, in a Canadian form, with a little bit of sugar on top. So I adapt my communication, short and sweet, thoughtful, and also mindful of others. I said that also a lot, but it's important that you keep it in mind at all times. Always relate the skills you want to use to the person that is talking to you. It has to be interesting for them. It has to be something they're interested in, especially the recruiters. Seek always opportunity, not weakness. This is very tough for French people, but for you, I'm sure you're going to be much better than me. Always opportunity, always positive and constructive. Keep also, you can't spend your time pleasing others. You also have to make sure you understand your goals and that your goals are aligned with what you're looking for and the goals of the employer. If that's not the case, maybe you should consider another role, another position, or another employer. All right, continuing here. Something that is very important as well, I was telling you, in order to understand the culture here and how people behave and how you can improve faster, just listen. Listen to people. Don't try to answer them. That's a reflex we all have. Oh, somebody is talking to me. I'm gonna also respond. Yay. Don't. Listen to them. Ask them questions. Try to understand who they are, what they do, what they like. And then wait for them to ask you a question about you. This way, you're gonna listen. You're gonna learn so much more information. That's my trick. Actually, when I go on LinkedIn, I love to look at different people, what they post, and after that, I contact them. There's probably Katerina on the call. I did that with her. It's I find those people. I'm like, what can I learn about those people? I'm interested, and I contact. Hey, I've noticed that you post things that interest me. Can we talk? Can I learn from you? And that's what I do. And when you look for a job, this is one way to understand if a company is hiring, how difficult the hiring process is, if you should talk to certain people or maybe name them during the interview. If there's critical information you could actually prepare yourself for. If the position is completely new or they've been struggling to find someone that understands and adapt to the different challenges of the role, this information will be provided to you willingly by someone that you just spend a little bit of time trying to know this person. So now that you know that, that's probably the most important tip here when you have to learn. And also this will give you hints about the different skills you're going to have to highlight afterwards. Be empathic. This is also a strong thing here in Canada. Being empathic allows you also to work and showcase your skills, especially, the attitude side. Whenever possible, request feedback because, as you know, feedback is important, but I'm telling you right away, if you ask feedback to recruiters, they will most likely ghost you. It's not that they don't want to, it's that legally speaking, it's a risk for them to tell you anything else that, thank you very much for your application. However, we've decided to go and to move with another candidate. The reason, legally speaking, is that if they say something that can be interpreted as discrimination or any other mean stuff, you could sue them, and they don't want that. So no feedback from the recruiters. But you can ask feedback from the employment advisors that you work with the, the organizations here. They're here to help you. And please, 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 this feedback doesn't mean that it's a failure for you. Quite the opposite. It's an opportunity to improve. You have to take it as a game, and you'll see that your skills are going to grow tremendously if you apply this logic. And also, failing is good. It's okay. It's fine. You can fail. The more you're going to fail, actually, as long as it's, reasonable failure, the more you're going to grow. You're going to grow faster than anyone else. I know because I felt a lot in my career, but it helped me grow. The other thing here that is very important, do not, never apologize. If you make a critical mistake, something big, yes, apologize. But otherwise, if you're not speaking well in English, do not apologize. Okay? What you can perceive as a grave mistake, as a tiny mistake, you don't need to apologize for it. Oh, you made a typo in an email. Don't apologize. Thank the person. Thank you for noticing it. I will correct that. That's it. The reason why I'm telling you this is because you can do the best job in selling your skills, but if you don't look professional, if you don't look credible, if you spend your time apologizing for tiny things that are irrelevant, you will not be taken seriously by the recruiters. So be careful with this. And finally, as you can understand here, participate to social events, educate yourself, continue to learn. Learning all the time is the key to success. And you, as a newcomer, you are learning every day. You're adapting every day. Those are great skills. You should advertise them. Maybe you don't have the Canadian experience. I know this one is a bummer and it should not be legal, which is not actually, but you can showcase your skills. You can actually sell yourself and you're going to see it's going to make a big difference after. All right. What do we have next? Oh, yeah. So we talked about you, but now it's all about the job description. A job description is not something very complicated, but you'll see roughly two types. You'll see the Christmas list and the diversity, equity, inclusion compatible shopping list. So what does it look like? A regular job offer, you'll have company description, job resume, 1,600,000 tasks, 1,300,000 qualifications. I know it's always way too long, but what's important here is when you're going to analyze the offer, you'll see that in the company description, you're mostly going to have a basic understanding of what the company does and their values. Then the job resume is an overview, very basic of what you're supposed to do, and then usually the detail with the task and the qualifications. Remember again, 3 first tasks, 3 first qualifications, that's what matters. Here, you're going to find a lot of buzzwords, keywords, vocabulary that you're going to have to get used to, that you're going to have to be able to use during also your interview or in your resume in order to showcase your skills. So we're going to go through that in a minute. But before, yeah, so do not worry about taking notes here or whatever. I will send you a website, a tiny website. You'll have access for at least 2 weeks, so be quick with all those. But what I will show you here is something I really, really like. So let's see here. And I'm just going to take the questions in the meantime. So I feel like I see you made another question. Perfect. So I'm gonna read those right now, and then we're gonna go through the. Actually, I'm gonna put it in English. It would be better. Voila, the job bank. But I will keep you in suspense for a minute. So I had a first email asking me. Let's see. So they wanted to understand an email here they received yesterday for a role they applied. Ooh, hoo, hoo. Okay, and that's a retail sales associate. Bell, okay. So what's going on here? Thank you for your interest in Career Bell. As you have not met the pre-employment condition as outlined in our conditional offer of employment for the position retail sales associate, okay, we are unable to move forward. Okay. So what is it exactly? What does conditional offer mean? Okay, so just to let you know, somebody sent me in the chat, I don't know if you can see it, they asked me a refusal email they got, a rejection email, saying that they did not meet certain conditions. What you need to know is, legally speaking, in Canada, there's legal jargon they're going to use to protect themselves, of course. And so conditional offer means that if you do not met all the conditions they deem necessary, they can retract an offer or they can refuse to give you an offer. Basic, but necessary to understand. And then they say, what does the portion your candidacy and your offer of employment with the company is deemed null and void? Technical term saying that it has no value and the offer is basically never existed. That's it. Okay, sorry for the sideline here. We're going to go back to the questions other here. I noticed most of the time references-based recruitment ongoing, time reference-based, okay? But it's a bit challenging for new commerce since building network is not an easy task to do urgently. Okay, so if I understand chat, I'm going to scratch that name. I apologize in advance. Chaturika, hopefully. If not, please correct me. The question here is, in order to sell yourself, there's different ways. It could be through the resume, through networking, but networking takes time to build in order to, to find the right opportunities. You're right. This is something you're going to have to build over time. This is something you have to learn, but this is something that we're going to have to discuss another time. Sorry about that. We have to move on and keep working on first the skills in order for you to better sell yourself afterwards, especially we're going to have to network. All right, so here, what you're looking at, the job bank here, I love it. It's very simple to use, it's free, and I'm going to explain you why. Can somebody just write the title of a job they're looking for right now and the city they're looking in which market exactly? And I'm going to look for this job here, and it's going to show you a bunch of information that is absolutely critical for you to know. So go in the chat or open your mic and just tell me, business analyst Moncton. Thank you. Very, very, very fast. Love it. Okay. Let's see if we can find this. So first of all, do we have it? Yes. Economics. Are we good with that? Good. Okay. So I'm going to just put business analyst search in Moncton. And it's going to give me a bunch of information. Like, for example, what is the description of this position? Is there a good prospect for it? How many jobs can I find? So they say it's moderate and there's 0 jobs available in New Brunswick. Okay, so maybe the title is not good. However, let's not stop here. There's something that you need to know. First of all, you can know an average of the wages you're going to earn. That's not bad. But what I really like, I'm going back to summaries. If you go down, they tell you the list of competency of skills that actually might be needed for the job. And when you look at it, they're going to classify it by importance. For example, usually for this data analyst economic specialty, digital literacy, high level of, like, it's high demand. On the other side, if we go to, for example, let's see, leadership, as a business analyst, you don't really need these skills. So it's important, but it's not something that is in high demand. So this website allows you to understand very quickly what type of skills you're going to need for this job. And so it's going to be easier for you to identify those skills. And then you're going to say, okay, Thomas, but how can I do the job just looking at my expertise, at my, at my resume? Well, thank you for asking. You can go in, identify your skills here, or skill inventory table. Let's actually go through it for a second. This is, voila, it's coming in online. Great. Those are websites I'm providing you. They're easily accessible. Oh, this one is in French. No, that's not the one I wanted. 1 second. So I'm going to remove this one, but yeah, this one. Well, this is what we get when we, so I printed this on the wrong one, but that's okay. I'm pretty sure if we go to the other one, the basic, it's like in TV, sometimes, most of the time it works, and sometimes there was a mistake somewhere, but that's okay. So if I go to this one, normally it should be the right one. No. Okay, so I got a tiny technical issue. Don't worry, guys. I will send you the right link and I will update all the links. So theoretically, you should have a list of competencies. I changed that again. What you're going to have also is the STAR method. Remind you for the interviews, that's what you need. and you have a few examples of how to answer it actually. So that's going to help you. For the job bank here, I think that's probably going to be your most useful one. But before I continue here, I would like to have another example of job title that interests you, and I'm going to show you another way of doing it. And after that, if you have any questions or if you want to, go through this and practice it a little, we're going to do it together. Oh, by the way, if in the meantime, if you have any questions, you can open your mic. We can talk about it. As a recruiter, you can torture me. You can ask me any questions. It'll be my pleasure to answer them. Yeah, you can put me on the spot. No problem.
Hello, Thomas. Thanks for this opportunity.
Yes.
Yes, it's I feel like I was the one that sent the previous one, okay?
Yes.
Reason why I'm asking is that I don't really know how it works here, but the way the tone of I've sent you another one because I do back in Nigeria, I've worked in telecom, so I've applied for a lot of roles in Bell. So, like example, I'd done one previously that I'd even gone to the last final stage, but later on, just because of the role was in Frederickson and I am based here in Moncton, they didn't give me the role.
Mm-hmm.
I've sent you another one now. That's another feedback. That's like the standard one they normally send. So my question is that I don't really know what conditional offer, and it's sounding like as if maybe previously they had me in line. I don't know. That's what I think as maybe a layman. Maybe I'm not an HR guru, but when you say that your employment offer is being revoked, like as if I was more of like and kept in view. I don't know, I might be wrong, but this were the thoughts that were going through my mind. So what I would like you to do is that these are the normal feedbacks. What is the difference between that first feedback and this second one I've shared now?
So I feel like I don't want to frustrate you here, but you actually are you are a little bit beyond what we're looking at today in terms of workshop and skills. I would strongly advise you to reach out to your employment specialist, to your employment advisor, so they can guide you with that. Because I can take the time to answer it, but I want to be mindful also that all the other people are, they're specifically focusing on what are skills and how they can actually, sell their skills. It seems that you already sold your skills and you got, you got several offers, so that's good. But yeah, definitely reach out to your employment advisor here, and they will help you go through that.
I don't have one. That's why I don't have one.
Ah, okay. Mm. In that case, maybe you can contact someone from the organization to see if they can direct you to someone.
But is it possible that after this we could just maybe, since my kind of question is not really going to be as in it's beyond the scope of here, maybe we could just connect afterwards and you could advise me based on this afterwards.
So I would say an external. I'm gonna find my words. I'm an external speaker. I would advise to contact someone within the organization.
Okay.
Maybe contact Joel and he can redirect you.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so refocusing here. Do we have any other question in the meantime? Is anyone oh, client relations specialist. Okay, thank you, Lisa. Excellent. So we don't necessarily know if it's the right title, so I'm gonna do the dumb thing. I'm just gonna do client relations specialist job in my research. And I'm actually gonna add Moncton. Once we do that, we're usually gonna have, yeah, indeed, yay. So I'm gonna click there. Oh yeah, I'm a robot. Yeah, I'm no, I'm not a true human. So we're gonna have to wait for the verification. So you probably guessed it. What I'm gonna do is try to find a job, and I'm gonna try to analyze what's going on there. So we have a senior communication specialist. So Lisa, if you can, maybe you can open your mic and we can do that together. So I have a client relation specialist, okay, from Billboard Hub. Great. And what we're going to see here, well, we have the benefits, but that's not what interests us. What interests us here is this, the job summary. So pivotal role serving the primary point. Okay, this doesn't mean anything. We're good to go. But what's interesting is they say you're the primary point for contact for all clients, vendors, and potential clients. Yes, okay, makes sense. You are managing, nurturing relationships, ensuring seamless communication, and of course, providing service across all touch points. So they're just repeating everything. We just read the first 4 lines, but they're using keywords that you can actually use if you have done this before. Struggling access to my audio. That's completely fine, Lisa. No problem. No need to apologize. Remember, we don't need to apologize. What we're going to do is we're just going to continue, and I'm going to ask you yes or no question, and you can answer me on the chat. What we need to understand here is the keywords, the skills that you're going to have to use. Here we see that they ask a lot of things, but mainly the concern is about servicing the client and the vendors. They say that if you're bilingual French-English, it's even better, but it's not mandatory. Phew. And they also say you need to be comfortable handling Microsoft Suite. Okay, that's okay. And then what's happening? They're repeating those keywords again. They're repeating the task they want. Client touch point, inquiry response. Okay, so addressing the question from the client, information gathering because you don't know everything. That's fine. CRM management. Aha, this is a skill that you might not be comfortable or used to it now. So we need to understand, okay, this is probably their software they're using to manage their client and their accounts. Perfect. What is it? And probably in the qualifications, we're going to learn about it. Vendor relationship. Yeah, that's fine. Sales coordination. Working. So this one is interesting because it's not as obvious. This one is teamwork. Being able to communicate and work with other teams. That's an interesting one that you can value. Invoicing and payments. It's fine. Clarity in communication. We're going back to communication again. Yes, of course, if you need to communicate with clients, vendors, and people in the team, yes. Adaptability. You traveled oceans, halfway the planet. You can adapt. You're going to be fine. Skills. Bilingual proficiency. So even if they say that it's not mandatory, it looks like it's something very important for them. Microsoft Suite, yeah, of course. Interperson, yeah, you're going to sell and act and speak with people, so you need excellent communication. Sales coordination, we see something repeating here. They're still not telling us what is the CRM, so that's a question you can ask. You can actually contact people from this job if you like it. I'll show you how. And you can say, hey, how are you? I see you work in this company. It looks interesting. Can I take, 15 minutes of your time for a coffee chat, a virtual coffee chat? And then you can say, yeah, how are you? How is it? Like, what do you like in this job? Oh, you work also in the customer relations. Oh, okay. I hear that you have a CRM. What is it? Can I ask? What's the name of it? And maybe you know it, maybe you don't, but you'll see. Education and experience. So education, usually everybody's going to ask you for a bachelor or something like this. It's irrelevant for you, okay? Unless you're applying for a big company where they really are super structured and for some obscure reason they need one, don't look at it. What matters is how you're going to present yourself, the expertise you have, and how you're going to showcase it. And of course, here the preferred qualifications, do you have experience selling, convincing people? This is the main qualification. This is the main skill because, of course, and as you know already, when you are in an interview, you're going to have to sell yourself. So it's not just about talking about yourself. It's about understanding the need of the client here and addressing it compared to your experience and what you can provide. So, Lisa, do you have any specific questions about what I just did? I know it seems very basic, but it's important when you look at, and I'm going to go back to the recap here. When I look at this here, this list we talked about before, if I go into, actually, If I go in job bank and I say, doesn't like it. Okay, we're gonna say client specialist. Client. You have to find it. So client service supervisor, meh. Well, let's see, client-based development, career care-based support representative. Client service representative, airline. Okay, so I'm gonna find representative, still airline. Guest service agent. Okay, I'm a bad guy. I'm gonna go for the guest service agent. And we're gonna say Moncton. What do you think we're gonna find? If I go in competences. Management of material resources. Well, if you work in a hotel, that makes sense. Social perceptiveness. Yes, the ability to understand what people actually want. Because sometimes they tell you something, but it's not very clear exactly what you can do for them. Being able to persuade, yet to sell something, to coordinate. Yes. Instructing someone on doing something. Yes. Time management. A lot. Monitoring. Maybe. What else? Service orientation. Voila, this is something very important. Yes, I agree completely. Being loving, servicing people. Being a social person, at least when you work. Caring about others, being empathic. Yes. Collaboration, adaptability, active learning. Yes, yes, yes. Stress tolerance, of course. This is something that makes sense. So here, in a different way, they show you all the personal attributes, all the skills you will have to leverage for this particular job. Okay, Lisa, it looks like you're happy with that. Excellent. So now something here that's the first part. You look at the job description, you find things that you like. Remember, the keywords, the vocabulary you see here is the one that you need to learn, and you need to use it after that. It has to become yours. Another point that might be interesting for you is how you're going to sell it to the recruiter. So if you want, keep it in mind. I'm the recruiter, but today I'm going to be the candidate. You're going to be the hiring manager if you want. Is there questions that you struggled with? You can ask them here and I can try to answer them. Or we can do something different. You can tell me your full name. I'm going to go on LinkedIn and we can see and try to extract all the skills you have related to the type of job you're looking for. So you can also see how we can do that. And you can open your mic, you can do it in the chat, everything is good. This time is for you. We have, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, we have half an hour. So it's, this time is just for you guys. And I want to make sure that.
And at this time, I will stop the recording. So feel free to interact as much as you'd like.
Excellent.